another day of litmus, right? Right? She's not that excited apparently. Today we are going to be doing a 5-star audit. Now I've seen this trend kind of go around booktube, and I was originally just going to talk about the 4.5 to 5-star books that I have read this year, but I thought, you know what? This would be a good opportunity to see what actually is the reason behind them being a 5-star, 4.5 to 5-star read. So that's what we're going to do today. I have a little bowl full of the 40 books, as apparently I have rated 40 of the books this year as 4.5 to 5-star reads. And so we're going to be drawing them at random. I'm probably going to do maybe like, I don't know, 10-ish probably. And then this is not the last you've seen of this bowl. I like doing things this way. The first book we're going to talk about is A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. River Enchanted is a beautiful, beautiful kind of historical fantasy, a little bit magical realism historical fantasy, I want to say, set in, I don't know if it's legitimately Scotland or if it's like fictional Scotland, but I think it is Scottish, with these two clans, and kind of the Fae magic is there and stuff, which Fae is not normally a 5-star audit thing. But what did I like about this series that really did it? I really loved the prose. The prose was very beautiful. Did enjoy the mystery behind it. There was, I wasn't really solving the mystery right away because there was a lot of different factors going on. I really liked the magic system. There was a lot of like music magic to it. So a good magic system, beautiful prose, and there was a really nice romance. There was kind of this rivals to lovers little romance, and I know that's one of my absolute favorite tropes. So I'm gonna probably say those were the reasons why A River Enchanted got that 5-star. I think it was a 4.5 to be real, but close enough. Next up we have Evershore by Brandon Sanderson, and oh my god, I feel so bad. It's not just Brandon Sanderson. It's two people who wrote these. Jancy Patterson, I'm so sorry, Jancy. Yes, because Jancy and Brandon are both writing the novellas for the Skyward series, which is probably my all-time favorite Sanderson series that I've read thus far, and I love it. So Evershore got 5 stars. Why did it get it? It's a novella, but it's really not because it's huge. A novella of Brandon Sanderson is a regular novel, and that's what this was. It followed our boy Jorgen, aka Jerkface, who I love and adore. I think what made this 5 stars is the thing about the Skyward series in general is just I love the world building in it. I love all of the unique alien kind of things, all the unique technology, and still having very real 3-dimensional characters and having lots of heart-dropping moments where you think certain people are dead. I mean, there are legitimate deaths that happen that tear you up to pieces, but I think there's just so much well-described action that you really feel in it. You feel in the battles, in these fighter jet kind of things that are in space. You feel like you're there with them in it. And also there was so much of the slugs. There were so many slugs. I love them so much. So that's why I loved Evershore. Next book we get, speaking of Skyward, we get Cytonic. Now I love Cytonic in a different way because Cytonic was less space opera-y and much more like classic crazy adventure film. Okay, now I love Cytonic gets 5 stars. Cytonic is definitely a nominee for Best Book of the Year. I'm gonna say that right here, right now. I love Spensa. Okay, Spensa is dear to my soul. I love her chaotic energy. I love the way that she talks. It's just dramatic and ridiculous, and I love her for it. I love the dynamic that she plays off of other characters. especially in Skyward, or in Cytonic specifically. There was so many new characters that we met that while she's going through this absolutely insane world. And again, physics, who cares? Because this is what I love about the sci-fi aspect in Brandon Sanderson, is the science doesn't make sense, but you're aware, like the characters are aware, this doesn't make sense because it's just so weird. And I feel I want more authors to not be afraid to write stuff that doesn't make sense. It's fiction for a reason. Just, I loved the adventure. I felt like I was watching an old adventure movie while reading this, and it gave me all the feels, and has such good comedy aspect. Comedy is a big thing for a 5-star. Okay, comedy is definitely a thing for me to make me love a book. If it's got that adventure quality to it, or some other plot, but if there's comedy built into it, you can bet I'm gonna love it a lot more. Okay, I don't need to take my book seriously, even though there are very serious moments in these books. If it's got comedy, oh, that gives it way more points. Number 4, oh, I'm holding 2 at the same time, but I can't see this one. Ooh, we have an indie book. We have By Winged Chair by Kendra Merritt. This, also a nominee for Best Indie Book of the Year. I will say that right now. I loved this one so much. Reasons, tropes. I love the romance in it. I loved the magic system in it. I loved our non-human sidekick. That's another thing. Oh, Cytonic as well with that. Non-human sidekicks. It doesn't have to be animal, it can be anything else. In this case, we have kind of this weird demon thing that likes to take the shape of a dog. I love when my battery just dies right when I'm talking about something. What were we even talking about? By Winged Chair. Non-human sidekicks, that's right. I do love a non-human sidekick. Can you guess why? I love the babies, even when you're mean to me and bite me, because I dared to hold a pen in your presence. You know? She's so mean like that. So By Winged Chair, I just loved it. I love the world building. I loved, it's kind of like, it's a light fantasy, and it's got adventure aspects. It's a retelling of a story that I don't normally read. Like, so it's a Robin Hood retelling. I love, obviously the representation is great, but I think the reason for the 5 stars is definitely how the romance plays out, the non-human sidekicks, and the magic system. Probably, that's probably it. I've already lost count of how many books we've talked about, but the next book is All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir. This is Sabaa Tahir's newest book. It is a contemporary, and so this goes against all the other things that I just said about my 5 stars. This has the 5-star of being such an important book and making me feel the rage. I just instantly felt the emotions of the characters. Even as me, as a white woman, cannot actually sympathize because I have not had those. I can empathize, but I cannot sympathize. I think, is that the correct? I might have flip-flopped those. One of them is I can relate because I felt that I have been through that, and the other one is I can understand it, I can comprehend it because it is so well portrayed and so well explained to me that I can feel that. And that's what Sabaa Tahir does, is even if I have not personally had these experiences, especially with racism and misogyny and abuse, she has done it in such a way that makes you feel like you have. And it makes you just completely engrossed in these characters, engrossed in this situation, and you just completely feel everything that Sabaa Tahir wants you to feel. You feel it in this. And so this is one of those where it's like, I don't really like to read sad books and heavier books because I like to keep my fiction more of an entertainment aspect, but I do read a variety of books. I just don't normally gravitate to books that are technically like this. But I knew I wanted to read it because it's Sabaa Tahir, and I love Sabaa Tahir's writing anyway. And it just proves that she's not just a fantasy writer. Obviously, she can do this. And it's not a true story, but it is based on her own experiences in life. So it is a fictional with, you know, influenced by reality, of her own reality growing up. And I loved that all the characters are just so realistic, and they're flawed, and you just want to reach through the book and punch some of them and also hug some of them. And it's her ability to bring these characters to life is just astounding. And that's why 5 stars. You got me right in the feels. Next up, we have Well Matched, completely different side of the contemporary world. Well Matched by Jen DeLuca. This is the 3rd book in the Well Met series. I don't know if it might be actually called, the series name might be Well Met, but I want to say it's the Willow Creek Ren Fair or something like that, because it's about a Ren Fair. It's the 3rd book in the series following the older sister of the main character in the 1st book, and Mitch Malone, who is kind of like the heartthrob gym teacher kid. Now, here's where people will probably be surprised with this, because this does feature a trope that I hate, and that is an age gap romance. However, this book deals with that in such a good way, and it works so well. This is how an age gap romance works for me, is when they're already both adults who are both at fairly equal maturity levels. That's why age gap romance doesn't work for me in a lot of other things, is because it's usually like a teenager with an adult a decade or decades older than them. That's where it does not work for me. When they're both adults and they're like, I want to say a 9 or it's 9 or almost 10-year age difference between them, but they're like 30, and April is almost turning 40 or is 40 now. And then Mitch is in his 30s, I think, or just turned 30. So I think he has a birthday I think there is a birthday. Is there a birthday party in? I read this way back earlier in the year. When did I read this? February? I think I read this in February, but it's been a while. But it touches on it in such a way, and it has such a good romance to it, and I really related to April. So April has some issues of, like, so she is a single mom, and her daughter's about to go off to college, and she doesn't have any real roots here. She doesn't have any connections. She doesn't have any real friends in this town, so she doesn't feel like there's any reason for her to stay, and doesn't really know where she's going anymore, and she's kind of closed off, kind of antisocial, doesn't really want to participate with like the other moms of the town, and doesn't really want to do this Ren Fair thing, but has promised her, daughter that she would do stuff with it. And yeah, I really related to April. So we had a very relatable main character. Obviously, Mitch is just himbo amazingness. If there's a himbo in it, I'm gonna love the himbo, okay? And Mitch is a himbo, but also a himbo with real feelings and stuff, and just seeing his interactions with his family. I really related to Mitch in regards to his dynamic with his family, and feeling like the failure of the family kind of thing, like he's not good enough for them in comparison to what his siblings do, what his cousins do and stuff. So really related. Himbos, relatable characters, sweetie romance, although it does have, like, I'm not a fan of the sex scenes in it, to be real, but I know a lot of people like reading the steamy stuff. I kind of read quickly, but it had good moments within the steamy scenes that were also very, like, emotionally rooted and had good conversation within it. So they were believable steamy scenes, which is what I like. I don't like just random hookup scenes. I like them to have purpose. Okay. Anyway, I don't know what number we're on, but we're gonna go with it. We've got Vespertine. It's Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. I love Margaret Rogerson's work. I can't wait for the sequel of Vespertine. Do we know when it's coming out? No, we don't. I'm hoping it's the next year. We don't even have a title. But it says it's #1. Now this like, her other books have all been standalones, and Vespertine absolutely can be a standalone. What do I love about this? Again, magic system, non-human sidekick. Exactly, that is it. And I especially, our main character is also it's not mentioned within the series, but Margaret Rogerson has told us that she is Arrow Ace. So we got ace representation. Woohoo! Woohoo! 100%. This is magic system. This is the world building aspect of it. I love the characters in this and our non-human sidekicks. We have the Revenant, and I love the Revenant. I'm sorry, he's great. It's just a fun character, and I really love the dynamic between our main character and kind of the antagonist, where they're kind of antagonists, but by the end they're like, okay, we do kind of understand each other more. And it's not necessarily building to a romance. It could, but it doesn't in the book, because obviously Aro Ace, not to say Aro Aces can't be in romantic relationships, but we have a new friendship, I want to say. Not friendship is a bit stretch, but we have an understanding. And so we've had really great character arcs. That's what it is. Character arcs. Got The Red Palace by June-Her. This was the surprise of the year. I went into this thinking I was just gonna like listen to it and not take anything from it, but oh my God. New 5-star reasons. Historical fiction not in Western countries. This is historical Korea with a really good mystery, very interesting characters, a mystery I was not able to really puzzle out who done it. We still got a little baby romance in it, but I learned, this book taught me so much, because a lot of historical fiction is oversaturated with World War II and World War I stories. And I'm tired of reading them. There are so many other countries that have history, and Korea is not one you see a lot of. So I cannot wait to read more June-Her. I really want to read The Forest of Stolen Girls. I have ordered it. It's on its way here. So hopefully next year we will be reading more June-Her. And yeah, just absolutely loving historical fiction, not Western. Non-Western historical fiction. That's what I'll say. And of course, obviously, we had good character arcs. We had good mystery in this. How many have I done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. Okay, we'll do 2 more, but I might be over. I might be doing 11 right now, but we'll do 2 more. So we've got Kaikei again. Historical fiction, non-Western, mythology based. So this is from India. And this is from the Ramayana. It deals with a character of Kaikeyi, who is seen as the kind of one of the villains in the Ramayana. Am I saying the right things? I'm always second guessing myself when I'm talking about certain historical texts, and I want to say it's correct. It's the Ramayana. But again, yes, historical fiction, also ace protagonist, and ace protagonist in a very loving relationship. Even though it is an arranged marriage, she has a beautiful friendship with her husband for the most part. This is one of those books that in the middle of the book, everything is so happy and lovely that you're like, oh, this is all gonna get taken away from me. And it does. But good magic system, again, great magic system, non-Western historical fiction, ace protagonist, great character arcs, just perfection. Perfection. I think we've really started to narrow down what makes a 5-star. So for the last book that we will go over, I dropped it. Okay, we'll do this one instead. Paladin's Grace, another indie book by T. Kingfisher. Again, comedy, romance, himbo. That's the tropes. That's the tropes in Paladin Grace that I love. We had some fun kind of mystery going on. That's not really what I read it for. I really read it for these 2 absolute idiotic imbecile characters who are in love with each other. I love that. I love that trope of just idiots in love, but scared to be in love with each other and scared to, you know, let their feelings out. So they're just disasters in front of each other the whole time. Really thoroughly appreciate that and just love it. I cannot wait to read more of the series. So I think we've kind of determined what my 5-star audits are. We've got non-Western historical fictions, comedy, himbos, swoony romance that makes sense, ace arrow characters. What else have I said about these things? World building and magic systems, non-human sidekicks. Those are probably my biggest. You want to go up? What are you trying to do? Where are we going? Hi, can I help you? Non-human sidekicks, right? What are your guys' tropes that you love? Do you disagree with me? Are there tropes that I love that you hate, or vice versa? Because that's fine. We all have our own reading tastes, even if mine are better than yours, objectively. I'm just kidding. It's nice to do that audit, because then now when I'm going into another book buying year, I can kind of gauge what I think I'll actually want to read and will enjoy reading. Because sometimes buy books because I'm like, okay, sounds interesting, but might not include those tropes, so I can kind of gauge better of what my reading tastes are shaping up to be. But I read so many different genres, it is hard to narrow down what I'm gonna like. But in certain things, that's what you can bet. Cool. All right. I'll see you tomorrow, cuties. Bye. I don't know why did I do my live stream sign off? It's bye here. It's a quick bye. Bye. It's the so. Oh, you're gonna get mean. Someone's about to get real mean. All right. This is slightly dangerous. You can't see her right now. She is very puffy, so she does not like the bowl. Extreme mean baby who keeps trying to bury herself inside this couch. Okay, to that, you better not be putting a hole in this dress. You better only be chewing on the blanket.